Hello, everyone. This is Independent Conservative. Thank you all for joining me once again. I want to get right into a subject that I think has kind of flown over the radar in the minds of a lot of people in America due to the great, awesome mainstream liberal media. But what I want to talk about in this video is the idea of countries like China and Russia beating us or in competition with America in reference to drones, okay? The quote-unquote drone war, if you will, right? And I want to read a bit of this information from a New York Times article. Here's the article here. It's a nice little picture there. You guys can see it. And of course, you ain't going to be able to see the right words here, but I just want to read a bit of the information here from this New York Times article, and then I'm going to get right into my discussion of something that occurred prior to Donald Trump's inauguration. As a matter of fact, prior to him getting elected. Yeah, we're going to get into this because something funky is going on here, right? Anyway, on a patch of dirt in the vast wilderness of Alaska, a long-range drone roared like a lawnmower as it shot into the sky. By the way, this article was written the 13th of July. It scanned the ground for a target it had been programmed to recognize and then dived, attempted to destroy it by crashing into it, but it missed, landing about 80 feet away. On another attempt, a drone nosedived at launch. On a subsequent try, a drone crashed into a mountain. These drones weren't flown by amateur hobbyists. They were launched by drone manufacturers paid by a special unit of the Department of Defense as part of an urgent effort to update U.S. capabilities. For 4 days last month, they tested prototypes of one-way drones by trying to crash them into programmed targets while soldiers tried to stop the drones with special electronic equipment. Read into that all kinds of conspiracy theories that you can. But yeah, these drones are going to be used for other means in the future, but I'm not going to get into that, and I digress. The exercise aimed to help U.S. defense contractors and soldiers get better at drone warfare. But it illustrated some of the ways in which the U.S. military could be unprepared for such a conflict. The nation lags behind Russia and China in manufacturing drones, training soldiers to use them, and defending against them, according to interviews with more than a dozen U.S. military officials and drone industry experts. I want to read something else here that I think is very, very important. Here are some pictures you can see. People doing these drone testings and so forth. Well, nice little pictures. Hope you can see some of this. Yeah. Anyway, that's my generic way of trying to show you guys pictures. But yeah. I want to show you. I want to read something here that I thought was interesting in the article. Let me find this for you. Yeah, here we are. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. I am not good with these crazy names. Has acknowledged that the country has fallen behind, and he announced a series of new policies and investments in drones that he vowed would close the gap. In a video released on Thursday, he cited outdated rules and procedural processes as making it too difficult for commanding officers to buy drones and train their soldiers to use them. Quote, while our adversaries have produced millions of cheap drones, he said, we were mired in bureaucratic red tape. Here's more photos. Oh, I already showed you guys some photos. That ain't nothing. Anyway, the video came on the heels of an executive order. Now, this is interesting, according to this, because I knew nothing about this. The video came on the heels of an executive order signed by President Trump last month called, quote, Unleashing American Drone Dominance, which directs federal agencies to fast-track approvals for American drone manufacturers and protect the U.S. drone supply chain from, quote, undue foreign influence. That's all I'm going to read right there. I think you guys get the gist of what that article is focusing on. Essentially saying that we're in competition with Russia and China in terms of producing drones, and President Trump apparent signing of this executive order to gain this dominance makes sense in that sense, because You don't want, and I know some people have a problem with that, or American imperialism or whatever. But let's be realistic. I'm just going to out Russia out of it for a minute, and just going to talk a little bit about China. China is a very strong superpower, and they are in direct competition to America, and they are enemies of America. Okay, China is a communist country that uses capitalist concepts. It's a mixture of communism and capitalism, but is by far a communist country. Okay, the government is communist. Because they're communists, they are against America. Okay, America is about capitalism, large in part at this point. America is about freedom of speech, freedom of religion. China is not. Okay, so they're enemies of America. Yes, we buy a lot of their products, this, that, and the other, but look, at the end of the day, they're enemies. Okay, and the government is. Okay, and because of this, we are in direct competition with them. And we really don't want China to get an edge over these drones or anything, really, when it comes down to technology. We're almost like in another Cold War, you know, that started with Russia and America way many decades ago, right? And that Cold War was not a physical war, but it was in reference to a war that had to do with technology and military technological advances, hence the term Cold War. We were in competition with each other, Russia and America at this time. But anyway, China has entered the same concept or same idea, and we don't want them to win over this kind of edge over us. Because if they win in this area, it could put America in a bad position. Okay. Now, having said all of that about the drones and our competition with China and so forth, I mean, let's be realistic. I mean, a lot of us, you know, I wouldn't want to do, but what would we do if we was the president? You know, what would we do? We says, we're not going to get involved in any of that. Look, we're involved. We're involved. There's nothing Trump can do to get uninvolved with some of this stuff. It is what it is. These were treaties made with a lot of these countries, man, and deals. What are you going to do, you know? The Antichrist hasn't come on the scene yet to change everything. Yeah, I said it. He ain't came on the scene yet to change anything. And no, Trump is not the Antichrist. Get out of here. Stop playing with yourself. Anyway, at any rate, yeah, that would be an issue. And you cannot allow them to overtake that area or any area for that matter, okay? But I'm going to take a little sidebar on it. I'm going to take a little flip of the script, if you will, because I want to deal with something, as I said in the introduction to this video, that I think has went over the head of a lot of Americans, okay? Still dealing with drones, but drones in a different aspect. Whatever happened to all this rigmarole and talk and fear-mongering about the drones that were appearing all over the place before Trump's inauguration, before Trump was elected? Remember the guy? I mean, people was making YouTube videos, poo-poo videos, cuckoo videos. You know, it was on the news. Former President Biden, when it was brought to him, said, I don't know what they are, all this other kind of bull crap going on. What was going on? People, I've seen videos of people claiming that these were UFOs. They're UAPs now, unidentified aerial phenomena now, right? They're not UFOs anymore because unidentified aerial phenomena sounds more professional. You see how the elites change the terminology to be more fitting? Man, shut up. UFOs, okay? Stop playing with me. But anyway, some people was claiming they were UFOs, you know, also known as UAPs. I mean, it was all kinds of crazy stuff. People was terrified. People was scared. The media started to hone in on this, and it was terrified. Then all of a sudden, it shifted. And how many of you hear now of drones? What happened to all these drones? What did they do? Go back underground? They go back into the mountains? Did they go into the sea? Did they sink into the military bases? What happened to these drones, man? Why isn't the media talking about it? And here's my point. I'm going to hone in on the mainstream liberal media, or the media period, for that matter. The media moves us from one sensational story to the next. Everybody honing in on what the media is saying at any given time. And we tend to follow whatever they say, and we tend to get scared or get happy based on whatever the media says. Right? Okay, when it was about the drones, oh my God, what's happening? It's going to be the end of the world. I mean, little people was terrified. Then all of a sudden, Trump gets in office, right? Then it's this war. It's Gaza and this and that. Oh my God. It's going to be World War III. So everybody start yipping and yapping about World War III. It's going to be the end of the world, which is interesting because the whole concept of World War III has been around for decades. Duh. I mean, yes, eventually it's going to happen. Okay. But let's deal with the mainstream liberal media. Let's deal with the mainstream media, period. Not just liberal media, period. They are to fault, in my opinion, for creating that atmosphere of terror and fear, because it was first it was an atmosphere of terror and fear over the drones. Then they got tired of talking about the drones. Then they started talking about Gaza. Oh my God. Y'all giving money to Israel. Oh my God, stop all this killing. We need to stop. It's going to be World War III. The media was all over it. Then all of a sudden it switched from that when it seemed like to me when people were starting to accept this concept of World War III, as they began, it seemed like to me as people began to consciously accept it and say, okay, man, maybe this is going to be it. We move from one sensational aspect to the next. Now it's all about the BBB, the triple B, the big beautiful bill. Oh my God, millions of people are going to die. The congressman gets in Congress before the bill was actually signed into law. All this yipping and yapping didn't make any difference anyway. It still got signed into law, Dumbo. But he sits up there 6 to 8 hours yipping and yapping and talking about millions of people are going to die. Millions of people are going to starve to death because of this big, beautiful bill, what he calls big, ugly bill. So everybody's terrified. Oh my God. Oh man. Oh, everybody gonna die. You see how the media does? This the media. Okay, now we offer that. Because none of that nonsense happened. And I don't think it's gonna happen. Millions of people ain't gonna die. Chill out, dude. And then so now I think it's now, what is it now? What is the major crisis now? What is the major sensational concept now? Huh? What is it now? Tell me. What is it? What is the sensation? Oh, it's the Epstein files now. Now everything's about the Epstein files. My point is this. The mainstream media moves us from one state of mind to the next state of mind, to the next state of mind, to the next state of mind. And we feed off of that, and whatever the mainstream media says, that's how we feel. If the mainstream media pushes a lot of positive stuff, we feel positive. If the mainstream media pushes a lot of negative stuff, oh God, it's going to be the end of the world. The UFO is going to take over. Oh, it's going to be World War III. Oh, millions of people going to starve to death because of the triple B. I mean, man, come on now. That's the main thing I want to talk about in this video. I've already read to you about the competition and all that between China and America and Russia in reference to the drones. I get it. Yeah, we need to overtake that. But whatever happened to the drones that were filling the world, filling the country prior to Trump's inauguration, prior to his election? What happened to them? You don't hear anything about it anymore. You see how the media, I think we're being played, man. Someone's playing us emotionally. And I believe, in my opinion, it's designed to condition us. Because it's to condition us to accept what they're going to really put on us in order to completely control everything we do, say, think, and feel. But in order to do that, they got to break us down emotionally. Break us down emotionally, man. I'm just giving you guys my opinion based on things that I've read and studied down through the years. And I'm just seeing this type of nonsense taking place before the American people. Whatever happened to this stuff, man? Where did it go? When are we going to wake up, man? When are we going to make up? This is the kind of stuff that makes me want to write stories. Being a writer, fiction writer. This is the kind of stuff that gives me ideas in my fiction. And I subtext it in my fiction. Well, that's a good idea because if you're blind enough to believe that foolery, you're blind enough to believe anything. So I just got to write about it. Okay. I mean, come on. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say, man. It's just insane. The media moves us, the mainstream media moves us from one emotional state to the next emotional state to the next emotional state. And I feel that it's all by manipulation. Because once it's like they'll start honing in on a subject that's negative and get you terrified about it. And before you even grasp and get some tenacity over the first crisis situation that they told you about, here comes another one. You haven't even overcome the one they gave before. Now you got to deal with another one. So now you start focusing on this new crisis, this new situation that the media have created for us. Now we got to deal with this one. We didn't forgot about the last one, but why did we forget about the last one? Because the mainstream media no longer talks about it. They didn't move to the next subject to overwhelm your mind. You get into that one, then they move to the next subject. You can't even digest the information they've given you with the prior crisis situation. Before they bring in a new one to you. That's what I wanted to talk about. That's all I have to say about that, man. It's just my opinion on it. I think it's a bunch of nonsense, and I'm not saying anybody don't watch the mainstream media. I'm not saying that. As my pastor even said on Sunday, he says he watches the media to keep afloat, to gauge the temperature, if you will, of what's going on in our world. And then God gives him a word to bring to the body of Christ, to the believers. Amen to that. But he doesn't allow the media to manipulate and control him, at least to the extent that I know. And you shouldn't. That's my point. Let me end it on this. I think that people shouldn't allow, in my opinion, to let the media control their emotions and control their worldviews, whether it's liberal media or conservative media. Because at the end of the day, if it's mainstream, there's only so much they're going to tell you. They ain't going to tell you everything that you need to know. I'm just saying. Whether it be the left or the right, they ain't going to tell you everything you need to know. You got to pick up them books every now and then and read outside the box that the mainstream legacy media creates for all of us. Too many people are trapped in the matrix. They're plugged in and they don't know how to unplug because what they're seeing and what they're feeling, they have embraced it as true reality. Whatever the mainstream media says, it must be absolutely true. But I beg to differ. I don't believe a lot of the stuff that they're saying is as true as they say it is. A lot of it is sensationalized to get views or whatever, but a lot of it is sensationalized to make us feel a certain way so we can watch them. And also from the elitist point of view, those who control the mainstream media, who have certain agendas, I believe it's a manipulative way of controlling us emotionally so that it's easier for them to push their greater globalist agenda onto us. I'm just saying. That's my word on it. What do you guys think? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel. God bless you all, and see you again.